Princess Zarathel of the Valorian Empire had married a human, and the galaxy had laughed. Throughout the 17 star systems under Valorian rule, the Union was seen as a curiosity at best, a weakness at worst. Humans were known across the cosmos as the gentle species, philosophers, artists, diplomats. They had no natural weapons, no venomous fangs or armored hides. They were soft, breakable things that had somehow stumbled into space travel through sheer luck. Elijah Hayes seemed to embody every stereotype. He was a cultural attaché from Earth, assigned to the Valorian court to facilitate human-alien relations. Tall and lean, with kind brown eyes and an easy smile, he had won Zara's heart with poetry and patience. He would spend hours in the palace gardens with her, discussing ancient Earth literature and making her laugh with his self-deprecating humor. When he proposed marriage, her father, the Emperor, had reluctantly agreed, seeing diplomatic advantage in the match. The wedding had been a grand affair, broadcast across the empire. Zara, with her luminescent blue skin and crystalline horns, had stood beside Elijah in his simple Earth suit. The Valorian nobility had whispered behind their clawed hands. What could this fragile human offer their fierce princess? Zara was a warrior in her own right, trained in 7 forms of combat, capable of crushing stone with her bare hands. But Zara loved him. She loved how he looked at the stars with wonder, how he treated her servants with respect, how he never tried to change her or dim her fire. If the court saw him as harmless, let them. She knew his worth. 6 months into their marriage, the assassins came. It was during the Festival of Twin Moons when the palace hosted delegations from across the empire. Zara and Elijah were retiring to their chambers after a lengthy state dinner. Emma, Zara's childhood friend and now her personal guard, walked 3 paces behind them. The Valorian warrior's 4 arms rested near her plasma weapons, her compound eyes scanning every shadow. "You handled Lord Crextor beautifully tonight," Zara said, squeezing Elijah's hand. "I thought he would challenge you to combat when you disagreed about the trade routes." Elijah chuckled. "I find that most people prefer not to fight when you give them a face-saving alternative." They turned into the corridor leading to their private wing. Emma's combat instincts flared, too quiet, too empty. Where were the usual guards? "Princess, something is—" Emma's warning came too late. 12 figures melted from the walls, their adaptive camouflage failing as they moved. Krethian assassins, their insectoid bodies bristling with natural weapons and concealed tech, the deadliest killers in the known galaxy, each capable of taking down a Valorian warrior in single combat. Zara's battle instincts roared to life. She shoved Elijah behind her, her ceremonial gown tearing as her muscles tensed for combat. Emma was already moving, drawing weapons with all 4 hands. "For the old houses," the lead assassin shrieked, mandibles clicking. The rebel faction that had opposed the Emperor's reforms had finally made their move. What happened next would later be debated in military academies across 17 star systems. Elijah didn't cower. He didn't run. In a movement so smooth it seemed almost lazy, he stepped forward, not back, and to the side. His hand, which had been resting innocently at his side, now held something small and metallic. The first assassin lunged at Zara. It never reached her. Elijah's hand moved in a precise arc, and the assassin crumpled, its neural cluster disrupted by what appeared to be an Earth-made device, illegal throughout the Empire. "Elijah," Zara's voice held shock. "Stay behind me, love." Emma left flank. His voice had changed. The gentle poet was gone, replaced by something cold and efficient. 3 assassins redirected toward him, clearly seeing him as the easier target. Fatal mistake. Elijah moved like water, like shadow, like nothing Zara had ever seen. His movements were economical, wasting no energy. When the second assassin struck with blades that could pierce Valorian armor, Elijah simply wasn't there. He had read the angle of attack before it came, his hand finding a pressure point that dropped the creature instantly. Emma engaged 2 assassins, her plasma weapons singing. But even she paused, distracted by what she was witnessing. The human was dismantling trained killers with his bare hands. "Humans don't have warriors," Zara whispered, watching her husband deflect a blade that should have taken his arm, then strike with 2 fingers extended, collapsing the assassin's exoskeleton at a weak point that shouldn't have been visible. "No," Elijah said, his voice still calm as he disabled his 5th attacker. "We don't have warriors anymore. We have soldiers, marines, special forces, and before we went to the stars, we spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing each other. An assassin leaped from the ceiling. Elijah caught it mid-air, redirected its momentum, and used its own body weight to slam it into the floor with enough force to crack the marble. Your species thinks we're harmless because we're diplomatic, he continued, now facing 3 assassins simultaneously. You think our soft bodies mean we're weak. He moved between them like smoke, every strike precise, finding the off switch on alien anatomies he shouldn't have been able to understand. But my species learned to kill beings much stronger than us. We learned patience, precision. We learned to study our enemies and find the one weak point that drops them. 2 more down. Emma had disabled her pair and was staring openly now. Humanity didn't join the galactic community because we were advanced, Elijah said, catching the final assassin's strike weapon, twisting it, and using the creature's own strength against it. We joined because we were finally tired of war, but tired doesn't mean incapable. The last assassin fell. 12 of the galaxy's most feared killers lay unconscious, not dead, Zara noted, in less than 3 minutes. Her husband stood among them, not even breathing hard, adjusting his suit jacket. Are you? Zara struggled for words. Are you a soldier? Elijah's expression softened, the gentle man she knew returning to his eyes. Was. Earth's Special Activities Division. Retired. I really did want to be a diplomat, Zara. I really do love poetry and philosophy. He looked at the unconscious assassins with something like sadness. But some skills never leave you. Emma recovered first. The Emperor needs to know about this. If the old house has sent assassins, they'll try again, Elijah agreed. But now we know they're moving. Zara, I need you to trust me. There are things about human military capabilities that we haven't shared with the galaxy, things we hoped we'd never need again. Zara looked at her husband, truly saw him for the first time. The careful way he moved, the observant eyes that missed nothing, the patience that wasn't peaceful but tactical. He had been analyzing threats and calculating responses from the moment he'd arrived at court. You were protecting me all along, she realized, even when I thought I was protecting you. Elijah smiled, and it was the same warm smile she'd fallen in love with. I would face down the entire galaxy for you, Princess. But I'd really prefer to do it with poetry rather than violence. Zara crossed to him, took his face in her hands, careful of her strength. The galaxy thinks humans are harmless. Let them, Elijah said softly. Humanity learned long ago that being underestimated is its own weapon. We survived and thrived on Earth not by being the strongest or fastest, but by being the most adaptable, the most persistent, the most innovative. He glanced at the assassins, and, when necessary, the most ruthlessly efficient. Palace guards finally arrived, summoned by Emma. As they secured the unconscious assassins, Zara stood beside her husband, her hand in his. The court would learn what happened here tonight. The galaxy would realize that humanity's gentleness was a choice, not a limitation. Princess Zarathel had married a human, and the galaxy had laughed. They would not laugh anymore. As they walked back to their chambers, Elijah squeezed her hand. I really do love you, you know. The violence, that's not who I want to be. I know, Zara said, but I love knowing that you can be when needed. In the gardens the next morning, Elijah would read her poetry again. But now when the courtiers saw the gentle human beside their fierce princess, they would wonder. They would remember 12 assassins disabled in 3 minutes, and they would understand. Humans were harmless by choice, not by nature, and that choice could be revoked.